Good morning. This morning we read Nehemiah chapter 5 and 6. Chapter 5 begins with problems. Some of the people had fallen into debt, and even to the point of having to sell their children into slavery in order to pay their debts. Because of the king's tax, because of a poor harvest, they had sold themselves into debt and now were feeling powerless. But it was their own people, the Jewish nobles, who owned the debts and were exploiting them. And so Nehemiah begins by saying, what on earth are you doing? We should be together, supporting each other, not exploiting each other. Not only a picture for Israel at that time, but a picture for all of us. We should not be exploiting each other, but caring for each other, not getting rich off other people's misfortune. And so he challenged the people. He didn't bring up to them the fact that exploiting the poor was one of the reasons they were sent into exile in the first place. But he challenged them to live a righteous, holy life in their business. And the people responded and said, we will do as you say. And they made their oaths together to obey the Lord. And Nehemiah exampled how to behave. Like a good pastor, he wasn't concerned about exploiting those under him. In fact, he didn't even take all that he was entitled to in order to serve the people. But he served the people out of his own resources. Those who are called by God will seek to serve the people out of their own resources. There will be a cost to them. And then he goes on, and there was opposition, continued opposition to the building of the wall. First of all, lies were told about him, that he was in it for himself. You're going to become king. You're developing a base so you can rebel against the emperor. And he said, no, you're making this up. And then other people tried to intimidate him, false prophets, bringing false prophecies to try and scare him. But he was determined to obey the Lord and to complete the work God had given him. Though they brought their rumors against him, though they tried to discourage him, he was determined. So here we see Nehemiah determined to complete the task God had given him, determined to complete it by treating people fairly, determined to complete it out of his own resource and out of his own strength, determined to complete it even in the face of opposition and discouragement. Here's the challenge to us. Are we determined to complete the task God has given us, to treat people fairly, to honor those who are suffering, to make sure that we behave right before God, and to use our own resources, our own strength, our own gifts and talents and energy, not to take even that which we're entitled to expect? And are we ready to stand up against discouragement and opposition? These are the challenges this morning from the book of Nehemiah.